This call is now being recorded.
Okay, all right, you good there? Bethany, you bounce back. Okay, you're all getting a little cocky here because none of you are putting your hands up in front of your face. Here we go, Philip, are you ready? Okay, all right. Okay, I give up.
So I thought this was a little humor to start out Friday. I hope you were able to find some humor. The idea of looking at remediation is an RTI strategy and giving the students choice of how they can personalize their learning at their own pace. And though you give directions, the students will still make their choices about how they will receive remediation in mathematics. So, anybody, I hope you enjoyed the little humor. With that being said, by show of hands in the chat, before we go to the chat, our agenda for today is the launch, practice, study, IXL, and lesson plan. So with the launch, the idea of the launch is getting started with IXL online program, doing possibly a 30-minute Friday math classes. Raise your hand if you already are familiar with in the chat at your picture on Google Meets. Raise your hand if you're already familiar with IXL and you already used it before. Okay, so good. I'll know one person. Okay, so I know what items I can skip through. With that being said, can everybody log in? Please take a moment and open up a separate screen. Can you log in to your IXL? If you log into your IXL, I cannot see you, but Cook can see that you logged in IXL. And
is it Google login?
No, it's just on the screen right here, www.ixl.com. The website is here.
Right. What do we log in with? What credentials, or do we need to like
Your
sign up?
username and passwords, Ms. Cook pushed out to you
Oh, never
already.
mind.
It should be in your email. There you go, Ms. Scott.
Does anybody else not have their username or their info?
I need for myself.
As you log in, I usually bookmark the web page to my ribbon. And I also ask the students just to walk you through in real time. I also ask the students to bookmark to their Chromebooks so that the IXL web page is there. And that's in the address bar, the URL, press the blue star. Raise your hand on the chat when you're in. Thank you, Dr. You can reset your password. Ms. Cook said, Dr. Islam, thank you.
I don't think I've been entered into the system yet. It's not letting me.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted you to have a real-time feel so that however you implement it in your class, you will have a real-time feel of what the students will experience. For some students, this is the first time that they would have the
Mr. Sweet,
IXL
did you
implementation.
check the chat? I'm sorry, Miss McDonald. Mr. Sweet, did you check the chat for your username?
I Maybe not.
Yeah, if you check the chat, I dropped your username in there. You're just gonna have to hit reset your password, and then you should be able to go through the process. But I entered you into the
Okay.
system.
Okay. Go to the chat and get my username. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to get to the chat.
It's the
Show me where the chat is.
the snowman, the 3 dots. If you press the 3 dots or the icon at the bottom of your screen,
This.
the rectangle, the talk bubble.
Oh, I used the wrong one. Sorry.
No worries. So thank you for those of us who are logged in, and Miss Cook is recording it, so you'll be able to go back. So I'll move through. So after you log in, you'll see your landing page. Your landing page has all of the levels, vertical alignment from pre-K to pre-calculus color coded on the left. And then you'll see a color box matching the grade level for all of the skills in that content. Starting at the top, the ribbon, learning, we're in the ribbon that says learning diagnostic and analytics. So right now we're just in the landing page that says grades. If you look in the upper right hand corner, your name should appear where it says welcome, as I'm moving the cursor across that part of the screen, if you can see it. Moving on. At this time, select any grade of your choice. If you select the grade of your choice, I will show you how you can show the students as how to read the skill being used. So at the top of the page, we'll always give you the grade level that you're on. We see that the cluster is separated by an alphabet. And the cluster, for instance, can someone come off of mute and read the cluster title for the skill level F, section F of the page?
I'll go ahead. Understand subtraction.
So there's a skill level, and we're in first grade. That's the level. Understanding subtraction is the content, and then underneath you see 1 through 7. Those are the actual assignments, the category. Then within your assignment, say you would like to differentiate the assignment in IXL. This pop up when you hover over, you can see this now. This is my classes. Once you populate all of your classes, Ms. Cook has put your rosters in with your name. Your classes will populate. If you would like to assign a particular skill to all your students, you just click the star goes solid yellow. If you would like to only assign it to specific students or certain classes, the star has stripes in it, and you can assign a skill just to certain students in your class. The students will receive feedback every time they answer a question. IXL is measured by what we call a SMART score. With the SMART score, it is registered in the lower right-hand corner. It lets the students know that they are correct. There's an avatar and there's awards that they can win when they reach proficiency. Proficiency is a SMART score of 80. Mastery is a SMART score of 90 and above. If a student gets the question incorrect, here is where the students can work independently, where they can have an explanation. The explanation will include the word step by step of how to correct the problem, and some of the explanations include a video. If your student needs to have ESL support or Spanish translation, they also can click the icon with headphones in and listen to the explanation as well. Student, when you launch this in your classroom. Students will be able to use their mobile device. The reason why it is important, sometimes students leave their Chromebook at home, and they may have their iPad or their mobile phone. They also can use IXL at home on any mobile device to work on additional practice. So let's get into the practice section. These are vetted best practices that I use in my classroom, and you will see on the IXL blog that they have best practices. So here we go. If you now go into your IXL, you see your name. It says welcome my name. Your name should appear here. And the underneath your roster. When you click your roster, one second. When you click your roster, you notice that you have all of your students' names, and I will go to that screen. I highlighted this so you'll be able to see it. This is always going to be your go-to to help you navigate the IXL. Within your roster, when you click roster, you should now be seeing this. Thumbs up or raise your hand if you're now seeing this particular item. 1 second, guys. I don't know if a parent is trying to call me. Sorry about that. I had to take that call. Sorry about that. I had to take the call. So at this time, you should be in the roster. This is important. Important. Reason being, if you have a student that's discharged, this works fabulous. It syncs directly to the Google Classroom and it populates on its own. If a student changes their password, you also have access to it. You can push out the student's access to IXL, which is their username and password, by sending the email. That's why I wanted you to go to the roster to be able to see that. It's very important so that the students will always have their username and password in their email. You also can print a hard copy of their username and password from this page. Did everyone get a moment to see this particular landing page for the roster? What's also cool about this page, you can print the launch cards. And if you see, as you print the launch cards here, it's cool about this page because it has the QR codes. And as you click on it, you see the QR codes, and you can print the students' QR codes for your particular class. So all they have to do is hold up their phone. For those students who may have issues with just typing their names in, because sometimes they transpose letters, they can just click the QR code. With that being said, this is the most important part, the IXL skill plans. Everyone listed here, you can click your individual skill plan. With this skill plan, you do not have to look all over to find the IXL skill that you need according to your unit. Also, the WAG, we have our curriculum. They also suggest IXL skills. But if you want to remediate, if you look at either the top grade below or the topic, you can click that link in order to the skill plan in order to see what skill you would like to use to remediate is already laid out for you. And here for SPED transition to algebra, this is linked also to a textbook. Is an excellent textbook that will help you remediate IXL skills. So you will be able to see the IXL plan. IXL classroom best practices. Can I get someone to read, come off of mute, and to read the first bullet at the top? Let me see. I'm gonna call on somebody. Miss Scott. Miss Coleman. Can you read the first?
Send monthly emails of username and password. You talking about this, right?
The first one. Post.
Oh, post smart score and directions on Google Classroom. Students must log into IXL first, then click Google Classroom link.
Thank you. So that is important. In order, when you post your link on Google Classroom, in order for a student to get into the direct access, they have to log into IXL first. After they log into IXL, then click the link that you have embedded on the Google Classroom. It takes them directly to the skill, and then you can begin. The next on the slide, next best practice. Can Ms. Coleman, can you read?
Send monthly emails of usernames and password. Distribute paper copy of username and password once. Duplicate digitally with via email.
Okay. When you again, I find that instead of just cutting the papers and giving to them, once you distribute one time, like I showed you in the roster, push it out monthly so that students who misplace it, it goes to the top of their email box. They always have their username and password. Okay. And the last one, could you come off of mute and read for us, Dr. Islam?
Display live classroom, supports students to remain on task, encourages confidence as you strategically monitor your class.
Here is where you can monitor the students live, exactly what score that they're earning after you push out the tasks that they're using. I use this for a fluency drill. If I would like to students to score a SMART score within the first 3 minutes in order to reach a score of 80. And everyone sees the score, it's healthy competition, and we see what's happening in the class. It also allows you to do strategic monitoring in your class when when you are checking in with students, if you see that they are idle in the live classroom. And then finally, getting to the last section of our agenda, to be able to increase your own professional learning. I think that once you push it out in your class, what it will look like may be different than my class. I think it will be important for us to share best practices and us to come back on the feedback of how you're using it in your class. With that being said, this is when you go to teacher resources, the professional development is there. And these are the video recaps in the areas that I think that are important. When you're supporting your students with remediation, you can see the trouble spots, the exact questions they had difficulty with. You can print out the question logs and have the students work independently to do makeup work. It also have, again, Spanish supports for our ESL learners. For gain support, if you would like to use this in your class to have diagnostics, right now we already did our benchmark exams with formative assessments, but GAIN may want to use the diagnostics in order to have flexible grouping as you work through the skills. And again, the analytics that you get back from the live classroom, it allows you to be able to use the data in real time of what your students know and be able to remediate them in flexible groupings in your class. Anybody have any questions so far? I saw a chat. Lastly, here. If everyone, this is the link. If you click on the link, I drop the link to the Algebra IXL, and I'm gonna stop sharing right now. And if you see this particular link, if you click on the link, and I'll drop it in the chat, and then and that's it. Hold on, let me drop it in the chat for you. So here I just share with you. I shared with you how I created a PowerPoint. Thank you for those of us who jumping right in. And I'll share my screen so you can see it in case you're still navigating the IXL. So here is an example of the PowerPoint that I use on Skill Up Fridays. I have the link, my Ready Desk. We go in to the Ready Desk, the student agenda. Let me go back. When I post, I put the level, the grade level, and I also, you can identify a skill by the letter code. So it lets me know A for algebra, and it's the 11th skill in that section, and it's classifying numbers. So I happen to use Algebra 1 and a 6th grade skill. We're currently solving equations using fractional coefficients. So I use this 6th grade skill to remediate as a fluency drill. And here is an example of how I post in Google Classroom. The title here, I put the directions because this was a fluency drill, I kept the SMART score at 70. Yes, the proficiency score is 80, but KOC passing score is 70. That motivates the students to be able to do the work. I also have the students complete and submit a screenshot of their SMART score. Reason being, having 81 students to look through each skill becomes cumbersome in order to get your grade submitted on time and Skyward. So if the students submit a screenshot of the title and the score in Google Classroom, it allows you to grade it quickly and update your Skyward. I always put the title of the IXL skill here. I highlight the level, and I don't use the shortcut codes, and I put the links. And so that way, as I said, as the best practice, you have the students log into IXL and click on the links. All right. Any questions about this? And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. With that being said, I'm going to say thank you. Before I say thank you, are there any questions? I was trying to, it's 3:27. We started at 3. I wanted to get through this to explain it quickly. The steps of IXL, you to have real-time feel of logging in. Are there any specific questions that you have at this time? Okay, sure, Ms. Cook. Miss, the action after this, your deliverable is to be able, the reason why I shared my PowerPoint is so that you can start lesson planning in order to build out what the IXL remediation will look like in your class. I use it both as a remediation, as a skill up to support the students where areas in which they have unaddressed unlearning. So in order to address the opportunities that they've missed in learning, I use the IXL to remediate that way. I also use the IXL as a fluency drill in order to introduce a topic, prerequisite skill that we're about to do. So at this time, the action item from this PD is for you to be able to go ahead and lesson plan. Are there any specific questions you have about the IXL? Yes, Ms. Waker?
When you're doing the diagnostics from the kids, where do you go from there? Because I'm trying to have some kids who have done diagnostics on the English and the language, but after that, for whatever reason, I'm having a hard time selecting when I go to skilled plans. It
Okay.
sends me to like these weekly boosts, and it takes me to the question, but it doesn't let me assign them to specific students.
Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen and share it show you now.
And
And
I
then
I, I didn't want to hold everybody up. I could have asked. I'm gonna ask you on
not a problem. If everybody does anyone else have any specific questions? I know I went quick and I said it earlier. Sent it to you. I know how it is on Friday. Everybody want to get their lesson plan. I try to get it in quick. I hope you enjoyed the humor in the beginning. Um, and okay, if there aren't any questions, thank you for attending. Ms. Cook, I don't think she has any unless you have any last minute instructions. She asked that the action required after this is please send her a date when you're going to use IXL in your classroom. I use the IXL on Fridays. You're welcome to come in and visit my classroom at any time. Ms. Scott pops in if you would like to see the IXL done. I also, just to let you know, for my exceptional learners, I give them a lower score for my exceptional learners. They're in order to earn a 70 in Skyward, they only have to complete a 60. And some students who have other issues, their SMART score only is a 50. So just to let you know, I made adjustment to the SMART score. Well, if you don't have any additional questions, thank you for participating. Have a wonderful weekend. Ms. Waker, so I'll share my screen and I'll show you. Let
Thank
me
you,
just
Mr.
turn the light on really quick. So the students who have completed diagnostic, my students haven't. So if you go in here, you see the diagnostics. This will give you put the student's name. When you put the student's name, it will give you the snapshot of their diagnostic, and you can see these are the 6 areas. Of these 6 areas, it will give you a score. With that particular score, you are able to know whether or not the student is meets, exceeds, or is below. And then on their landing page, I'll show you. You won't be able to see it on my page, but I'm gonna show you here on learning. On their landing page, instead of it just only saying IXL when they log in, they're going to see this. It's going to say recommendations. And with the recommendations, then you know what skills that the students need to work on.
Are you doing that by is there an option to like impersonate their profiles so you can see how it looks?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So what this, I just want to show you one important part. With this recommendation page, you can start making students individual goals. The individual goals, and you see these icons. These icons all have meaning where they say try something new. Next up, keep at it. Keep at it is when the student begins, this is the adaptive aspect of IXL. When the student is struggling, the keep at it lets them know what area they need to keep working at, and it will automatically populate to the level they should go to. Now, as far as looking at the student scores, you go into diagnostic here. When I won't be able to, when I want to see diagnostic overview. When I see a diagnostic overview, here's where, again, I don't have any real data because my students we did not launch IXL on a diagnostic vein. Here's where you will be able to see this view, the actionable results. With this results, this is what I was explaining to you about the scores. So you would see here. And then when you click this icon, it allows you to print it out. Okay. This happens to be the window. Next, you also, again, You see the tailor made.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go here. Let me show you. Let me see if I can bring up. All right. So here's the teacher's guide. Let me just give you the link because I did not put that. I'll drop it in the chat for you. So here's a teacher's guide to the diagnostic. So the teacher's guide to the diagnostic, again, this is an excellent, is 3 pages and explains each step, what to complete for initial diagnostic, to review the diagnostic score. Here's what I was explaining to you, how you can see the levels, and it lets you know these levels translate to know whether or not, again, the student is below, meets, or exceeds recommendation. And then you can triangulate this data with Illuminate also if your students take weekly assessments or they take their needs. Students took a needs assessment test in the beginning of the year. This will also, you can use for the needs assessment.
What is Illuminate on?
Illuminate is another software. I don't know if your students took a needs assessment.
I'm not sure either. I'm
Okay,
just
so
trying to get some groundwork on. Do you log in through? Is it through Springboard?
No, Illuminate is a whole platform together. I was just saying, as far as data, you could triangulate the data together in that you can compare apples to apples, given the strands.
Okay.
And each, like I shared with you, each strand, number sensor operations, you can look at the TEAC standard as well as the strand here for planning next steps.
Okay.
And then again, the last step is planning next steps. You can actually print out this action plan and you can share it with the families to know when they're at home. This is the at-home resources that they can use IXL. This is one of the benefits of doing the diagnostic.
Okay, perfect. Because they're at home and they've been doing it now, but we only worked on it for one day, just like getting them into it and stuff like that. And they only answered like a few questions. So that's what they've been doing since we are quarantined. So it's like when I'm going into like some of the students, they have like the ones that I see that have answered and done work in here. It doesn't. Okay. So I have one and I see that he has completed all of his. So I guess some of them, they're just jumping around instead of completing the entire thing. Okay, so I got it.
But if you're going to use the diagnostic, given class time, because it takes time to do it, if you're going to do both math and ELA, because those are the 2 areas that they diagnose, you want to give them time to complete it, because it'll say continue diagnosing until the student answers a body of questions in both math and ELA, and it will give you that action plan. Because if they don't continue diagnosing, continue the diagnostic, it will not give them the action plan.
Okay, I see it now. I have one student. He has completed all of math.
If you want to share your screen, I can help you navigate. Because if you want to share your screen.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm sorry taking up your time. Give me a second.
We here. We here.
All right. So, okay. So this is Jezrick. He has completed his math portion. Because I wasn't seeing this on all the other ones. All the other ones look like this. So now
so that means that he only did math. He didn't do ELA. So if you want him to spend time to complete ELA, and if you scroll up, you see he completed it enough, and each of the star, it gives the levels. You can track the levels when you click on that recommendation, gives you the skill. Scroll up. If you go to the analytical report, view diagnostic. And Jesuit, you right there. See what's his print, the print icon. Well, that's where he fell. The print icon right there. View action plan. This
wow.
is where, and see the overall level lets you know where the scale is. So
Okay.
again, the level here to what the grade level that is low. That means between first and second level, first and third level. I'll show you the page that gives you the level. Here's all the recommendation that can be printed. That can be printed out so parents can go. He can work that at home. Now I'm gonna show you something really quick.
Okay.
Those 3 letters at the end, that's a shortcut key.
Oh wow.
Those 3 letters at the end, if you a student can put those shortcut key in a search bar, it takes them directly to that skill.
Cool.
So if you want to assign it,
Okay.
so if that answers your question, did that?
Yes, ma'am. So in a nutshell, I need to that's perfect. So I just need to make sure that all of them complete their diagnostic and they have not.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right.
Mhm.
And then from there, so I've just been using it in general as a, since I don't really have a curriculum, just as a stepping stone for them in general. Just so, what would you recommend in math? Because all of them are on so many different levels when it comes to the math, and just a basic thing that we could all be going over in class, like a starting point that you think.
Follow the go-to in the slide for today. If you see, let me share my screen really quick. Hold on. That's why I selected that one. This one here.
Okay.
The skill plans. Let me go to that slide. The skill plans here transition to algebra. This particular skill plan, the skill alignment, this is transition to algebra. This is going to cover all of the skills that are TEKS align for algebra into 1, 2, and geometry. So if you start here with the visual aids and just go through the lessons, it plans itself since they're on different levels. And then once they go in here and they start, you still personalize, because once the student begins to do it, the recommendation page will let them know what are next steps.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about a student that is going ahead or a student that is below. They still have the topics that are personalized to them.
Perfect. And can I get that? Is that in KOC
Yes.
skill math?
Yes, just click the link and the books are there. So all of the skill plans are here.
Okay. I don't think I got that. How do I get to the?
I shared it in an email today, and
Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing and drop the link again in the chat.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss McDonald. I
You're welcome.
appreciate
I
it.
think Miss Dean Lewis is calling us to the meeting.
Okay.
I'll drop it in the chat for you here.
Thank y'all.